Igbo mụ na-ege ntị, anyị ekene unu ọzọ. Anyị n'ụbọchị taa, anyị sị unu ka onye chiri ya zelu. Anyị sị ndị be anyị n'unu ya dịka echi, na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Otu anyị kwuru otu a ka ọ ya dịrịrị. Ise, ise, ise. Anyị dịka o si dị ka agbapụnụ ya ọsọ, anyị gosi unu ife nke anyị ji maka ya wee bịa n'ụtụtụ tata. Tata bụ ụbọchị abụọ nke ọnwa Ọktoba 2023. Ife a na-akpọ ya bụ morning tea. Morning tea ka anyị na-akpọ ya. Dịka ị na-ege ya bụ ife, kabalụ ka ị drọpụrụ anyị kọmentị gị. The Biafran Prime Minister were ife okwu n'elu akwụkwọ a. Mma achọkwa unu gee ya bụ ife, unu gesia ya, unu drọpụ kọmentị unu, ọ dị very important. Gbasịta maka ife ichelu ndị Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'elu akwụkwọ a. Dịka oge na-adịrị anya, anyị agbapụnụ ya ọsọ ka anyị jee gosi na ya bụ ife ka unu gee ya. All right, over to you, my able Biafran Prime Minister. Over to you, sir.
From my snowing country and beautiful country, Finland, this evening. And this is the State of the Nation broadcast that is going to be the paradigm shift in the Biafra liberation. Good evening, Biafrans, lovers of freedom, and friends of Biafrans across the globe. The gentlemen and ladies of the press that are hooked up to this program today from different parts of the world. I would like to start this state address today by drawing some kind of from the Bangladesh and Pakistani War of 1971. The 1971 Liberation War of the Bangladesh against Pakistani continues to shape the mindset of the Bangladesh sense of nationalism and has forged their contemporary constitution. The Bangladesh we see today is essentially the fruit of the Liberation War of 1971, and in order to know the history of Pakistanese colonialism and the event surrounding the 1971 Liberation War that turned Bangladesh into an independent sovereign state, we need to again look into the Biafra issue and the event that has happened for the last 2 years. The Liberation War of the Bangladesh people was not merely a war of independence fought by Bangladesh nationalists, but one of its main reasons that triggered the Bangladesh War of Liberation was religion. Religion. The Pakistani government, as at then, wanted to turn Bangladesh into exemplary Muslim by alienating them from their Hindu background. That's exactly what Nigeria is doing today. Nigeria government is now an Islamic State government where the Muslim is a president or becoming a president-elect and the vice is president-elect. And this Biafra will never accept no matter what. Apart from that, this has been the problem of Nigeria from inception, from 1914, go to the independence in 1960 and beyond. And today, the manifestation of the Islamic State in Nigeria is getting clearer by the day. This we saw many years ago, and that's what is leading to most of this agitation springing up for the disintegration of Nigeria, which is for the best interest of every ethnic nationality that made up Nigeria today. I want Biafrans to understand this concept of the religious division was also used as a root cause of the creation of Pakistan in the first place, following the British colonialism of the subcontinent. Ironically, religion brought together Bangladesh and Pakistan as one state. during the partition of the subcontinent, and later the very same religion separated the two. I want you to understand that this is going to happen this year in Nigeria, between Nigeria and Biafra. It does not matter whether you accept it or not. We have been able to ascertain that the majority of Biafrans, over 90% of Biafrans, have rejected Nigeria through the just concluded general election. And that is going to be very clear today in this particular State of the Nation broadcast. Comprehending, I want you to understand that the comprehending the development of the liberation war of Bangladesh involved a meticulous retrospective look into the event leading to the partition of the Indian subcontinent, following the devastating effect of the Second World War. The British colonialists gave up their control over Indian subcontinent, and the 1947 partition outlined two independent nations, India and Pakistan. This is the same with Nigeria and Biafra today. We have seen the worst of it during the last general election. It was not jihad. It was not just an election, but a jihad election. A jihad election against the Biafra people. And we have seen widespread condemnation of the result from local to international communities. However, this condemnation will not change the fact that it was a jihadist election where extremist Muslims from the Yorubas waged a series of attacks against Igbo Christians in Lagos. It is not also only the extremist Yorubas, Muslim Yorubas, but also most of the Fulanis in Lagos have been used to perpetrate this attack against Igbos and their businesses in Lagos for voting against their religion and for voting for P2B. My fellow Biafrans, if you think that this is just an attack, or the attack that is going on today against the Igbos in Lagos or in various parts of Nigeria is going to end, then you are a joker. The attack against you is just starting. This is many years and decades of planning that is being executed now. Their target is to silence your voice physically and in the ballot box. They have succeeded somehow in silencing your voice that today you dare not speak in Nigeria. Today you dare not condemn or criticize the government in Nigeria because it is a jihadist government. If you do that, you are a dead man. So they have succeeded in silencing you, using force and terrorism to silence your voice in Nigeria. And now they are taking it to the ballot box, making sure they silence your voice in the ballot box. They have succeeded in all these things, including now, the last election shows that they will stop at nothing until they silence you in the ballot box. I want my fellow Biafrans and those listening to me today to know that your voice in the ballot box will be silenced by the jihadist government of Nigeria with terrorism, and they will not stop until this is done. Because many of you don't understand, many of you are very unreasonable people who are looking for the head of those fighting for your liberation. My fellow Biafrans, Nigeria has been in joint military training, studying the map of Nigeria and Biafra with the Pakistani government. Many of you do not understand why Nigeria aligned with Pakistan to train their air force and their pilot in studying and monitoring the map of the Nigeria. Is because they are using the template that Pakistani use against the Bangladesh in order to subjugate them and turn them into Islamic State, which the Bangladesh people rejected. And today, you are going to see a similarity in what we are doing in this Biafra liberation movement. The reason for this collaboration between Nigeria and Pakistan is nothing else than the Islamic agenda. And today, it is manifesting. Atiku and the other Muslims can never go against the outcome of the election in good faith. because it is a dream come true. And win-win for Muslims in the north, Boko Haram, Islamic State, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and all the terrorist organizations and groups in Nigeria. This is a win-win for them. They can never go against this election, against the result, in good faith. And our message today also goes to the ignorant people following them in PDP, because Atiku can never fight with his heart. He knows that he is going to be more comfortable in an Islamic state of Nigeria than in a secular state. So if he go out there to fight against the Muslim ticket or the Muslim president and vice president Muslim, he is just deceiving you. The fight is not real. And I want you to understand that the judiciary has been taken over by the Muslims, the executive Muslims, the military Muslims, the police Muslims, and it is only Biafra that is going to save you from this mess. Atiku also validated the killing of the young lady, the young girl in the northern Nigeria for blasphemy. She was stoned to death, and Atiku condoned it in this 21st century. Atiku can never go against the Muslim ticket. That is what they have prayed for. And do not allow yourself to be used. We are not going to be used, and we cannot be deceived. That's why the Biafra liberation and exit from Nigeria will happen at all costs this year. My fellow Biafrans, just like the Bangladesh people has had enough of the Islamic agenda and they liberated themselves from the Islamic Pakistan rulership, so will the Biafra people liberate themselves this year, 2023, from the Islamic-dominated Nigeria government. In the same way, Pakistani government embarked on a widespread crackdown of the Bangladesh activists. In the wake of the crackdown on March 25th, 1971, the Awami League leader felt bereft and were left to their devices. Senior leader fled from their houses to take shelter in a remote village in India. Most of them took refuge in India. They left and fled their country in Pakistan. Among them was the Awami League General Secretary Tajuddin Ahmed. Tajuddin Ahmed fled because of the crackdown of the Pakistani government in March 25th. The Indian authority gave them safety and shelter. When they fled the country because of the crackdown, the exact thing the Nigeria government are doing today, the Islamic government of Nigeria is doing today to Christians, Biafrans, mainly Christian Biafrans that are fighting to liberate themselves from them. They will have start and onslaught against our people, including crackdown on Biafrans. And those innocent Biafrans who are not even part of the Biafra Liberation Army have fallen victim of this. The evening of April 1, 1971, Tajuddin and Barrister Amirul Islam were put on board a Russian-made Antonov cargo aircraft. In extreme secrecy, they were flown from Calcutta to New Delhi. 2 days after his arrival in New Delhi, his meeting with the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, took place on April 3rd, 1971. It was the first official contact of the Awami League leaders with India government more than a week after the crackdown of Dhaka started. He was not only the party general secretary, but also the right-hand man of the Bagabandu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was the original leader of the Bangladesh Liberation of War, who was arrested. The main leader was arrested on the fateful night and flown to the West Pakistan, just like the way they kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra today, and we do not allow the movement to die. Mrs. Gandhi and her aides were apparently impressed with the Tajuddin, who was adept at explaining the overall situation prevailing in Bangladesh before March 25th crackdown. He was acting on the instruction of the Bangabandhu. He appraised Mrs. Gandhi of the freedom movement that has started and said that the people of Bangladesh were determined to continue their struggle until independence was achieved. He sought all-out support from the government of India. That is exactly the situation of Biafra people today. We are doing exactly even more because the Nigeria situation is very, very, kind of a little bit more worse than what the Bangladesh and Pakistani went through. When the people of Bangladesh launched a comprehensive war of liberation, it was the young guerrillas that played a vital role. The freedom fighters, most of them came from rural background and college university students, put up fierce resistance to the Pakistani army, who had started killing thousands of innocent people, including women and children. The freedom fighters, clad in lungi and shirt, who had no training in guerrilla warfare, blended in with the locals, fought the brutal occupation forces and the Bangladesh collaborators. They also have Bangladesh collaborators against the Bangladesh independence, just like the Biafra people have the Johanneses, the governors, and the political elite fighting against our freedom today. It is the same thing happened to Bangladesh people. The first task of the Awami League leaders was to gain support from the government of India. Beside guerrillas, a regular army division was created around the nucleus of the then East Bengal Regiment. I want to assure Biafra people today that this is the face of the Biafra liberation at the moment. Bangladesh Exile government was based on the principles of collective responsibility. They also had their own exile government that was based on the principles of collective interest and responsibility. But Tajuddin played the vital role. He acted as the spokesperson of the people of Bangladesh, just like Simon Ekpa is acting as the spokesperson of the Biafra people today. But his choice as the prime minister was not anonymous. To run the provisional government, he had to overcome a lot of difficulties to face the many challenges. The same challenges we are facing today in autopilot movement of the Biafra liberation. The first challenge, the same challenges Simon Ekpa is facing today is the same thing the Tajuddin man from Bangladesh faced during their liberation war. There were not only differences of opinion among the Awani League leaders, but also grouping and bickering aplenty, intellectually sound and unassuming. Tajuddin was a cool-headed person in the absence of Bangladesh, in the absence of their leader, Babangadu, had he not been chosen as the prime minister of the exile government, it would have been difficult for any Awami leader or Awami League leader to handle the complex situation. The same way that we are having different complex issues today as we prepare our exit from Nigeria. But Tajuddin maintained proper liaison with the host Indian authority as well as various groups and freedom fighters. My fellow Biafrans, we started our countdown to exit Nigeria on the 5th of October 2022. And during this countdown that ended today, as a matter of fact, our countdown ended today, the 5th day of March 2023. We recorded a lot of success in creating awareness during this countdown, building and strengthening alliances with our neighbors like the Oduduwas. Joint brief took place. Joint brief between us and Oduduwas took place on the 5th of November 2022. Sorry. Sorry, one moment. You're welcome back. The joint press briefing between Biafra people and Oduduwa took place on November 5th, 2022. We sustained and reawakened the Biafra spirit through the hoisting of Biafra flag of the rising sun, which took place on the 21st day of November 2022 at exactly 12 a.m. throughout the 31.
ndị be anyị kene m unu ọzọ. Dịka unu nọ ya bụ ife nke anyị na-akpọ morning tea tata ụbọchị abalị 20 nke ọnwa Ọktoba. Gịnị ka ị nwere ike ịgwa anyị n'ilu akwụkwọ a gbasara maka ife ichelụ the Biafran Prime Minister gasị n'ilu akwụkwọ a? Gịnị ka ị nwere ịgwa anyị na ya bụ ife? Echefukwana na ya bụ Eastern News 24 ka anyị si na ya na-ewetara unu nnukwu ozi a dị oke mkpa. Ngwanụ ndị be anyị daalụ niile nke emesịa.